Water in Colorado is really important. And all you have to do is go and look at the open plains area and see all of the areas that we have here in Colorado where there is no water and it's just grassland. There's no moisture and it just wilts everything down to a nothingness. Now this is the original high school, and my mother graduated from here in 1923. My mother graduated from here, my sister and brother and I, and two others. So those are the blacks who have graduated from Manzanola High School. My mother's family came from eastern Oklahoma, Prague, and they came in 1916, covered wagon and horses. The reason that they came here to Colorado was because of the Homestead Act, and it was one of the latter Homestead Acts, and they were able to come and homestead property, and if they made improvements on it, then it became their land. However, when they reached here, they were sorely disappointed because where they had lived, there was rivers and streams and green and trees, and when they arrived here, it became more desolate and more desolate. And she said you could see for 100 miles. And she said there was just absolutely nothing. And of course, there was no water at all. And that was the beginning and the end of the dryland settlement. Actually, it was the fact there was no water. And these plots back here, this is where my grandmother and her husband and my mom and dad and sister goes in that one. Then we have this one here and this one here. The weeds have just taken over. By the 30s, when the Dust Bowl came along, whatever remnant was left moved away, except for my mother and father who had their homestead and her father who had his homestead. By the time I was born in 1934, many of the families had long since moved away and their places were in ruins.
So this is where my mother grew up. That's the foundation of their house. Then there was a chalkboard there. And there was a big window here.
But you know, you get up in the morning and that's what you were going to go to the spring and get water. So you get up early and load up the barrels and hitch up and go, and it would take most of the day to go and load up the water and get back. And most of your day would be gone. It's very difficult to depend on the weather for your livelihood. You'd better have some other plan or something that you can substitute when you don't get that rain or you don't get that snow. We should all be worried about the fact that we have this global warming and it's less and less moisture and drier and drier and drier. Unless we can do something about water conservation and distributing the water more adequately, it's not a choice of a place to live if you want to farm. You simply cannot farm without water.
I'm looking for little life because I've seen little bitty amoebas or something.
So this is what they saw, this land. There weren't any fences or telephone poles or electric poles. It was just wide open. It's sort of a family legacy because they came actually from nothing and they came to nothing, but they stayed here and they survived. As they always said, get into a position where you can make your own sunshine, where you can go out into the world and make a living. Well, it all started out on the dry, because that's from whence we came.